Oh, we're going. Hey, we're live. Hey, so glad you're here. So glad you're tuning in. Just so you know, this is not Young Adult Live. This is the pre-show. With Zach and Wes.
Zach and Wes.
I mean, it's Young Adults
It's
Live.
We're Live.
Oh, okay,
Currently,
Christian. Okay. We're doing Young Adults Live with Zach and Wes, but this is just the pre-show.
This is the pre-show.
So glad you guys are here tonight.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
We're going to pull ourselves up right here so we can see what's going on.
Oh, I bumped it. Oh.
Muted. It's fine.
It's all right. We're having difficulties.
We're back.
We got it. They're going to hear that. That's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, how was your week?
It was
It's been Thursday to Thursday. Yeah?
Yeah. Yep. It's a isolation station.
Isolation station.
Yep. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so glad it has been warm today. It was warm yesterday.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Yes. I'm going to put in some frisbee golf, disc golf tomorrow with my awesome pudding.
Pudding?
I want pudding right now. No,
that
I'm doing
sounds
some
kinda
disc
good.
golf with my roommates tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah. You're going fishing tomorrow, aren't you?
I am.
Okay.
Fishing.
In your opinion, this is very important.
Yeah.
Which bear is best? No, I'm just kidding. What do you like to fish for?
Well, we're going to go catch some crappies.
Crappies, yeah. Nice.
We like to catch bass. Pretty much anything
Yeah.
that will bite. They often don't, though.
Yeah.
I'm not a professional fisherman.
You know what I want to do this summer? Actually, you and I are going to do this summer.
What?
Magnet fishing.
Yes.
Magnet fishing.
I don't know if you guys have seen magnet fishing, but it's basically a super powerful magnet that they just throw out on a string,
Yep.
and they get all kinds of goodies.
Yep.
Mostly garbage, but it's still fun.
Yep.
So,
Hey, love it.
yeah,
We need to do that.
we will.
I know where there's a bike in the river.
Did you
we could
put the
fish that
bike
up.
in the river?
Well, I personally
Was it
didn't
your
put
bike?
it. Was
Or
not my bike.
Oh my gosh.
But I remember riding it into the river.
Oh.
Yeah, we had it was down by Black Bay.
Yeah.
So we had some, a little ramp set up, and we would had a rope tied to the bike, and you just like rode it off into the river, and then someone dove down to get it. So, yeah.
Is it?
What?
Erica says it's illegal to go fishing right now.
No, it's not.
Is it illegal?
No.
Oh,
Right, yeah.
Well, we're not fishing in Washington.
It is not illegal.
Erica.
It is not illegal. We're good.
Freaked
So,
me out for a second.
If you have questions, I mean, always look up. Do your research.
Yeah,
before you
I'll
go
look
out
it
and
up
do
before I
something.
go. Make
So-
sure I'm not breaking any laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're allowed to be outside right now. You just got to practice social distancing like we are, and yeah. So,
Yeah.
hey, utilize the chat right now. We'd love to interact with you guys.
Yeah, we want to know who's here.
We already know. There's already a lot of
5 of
people
you.
on there. So we got a lot of people. Jenny Lee, Laurel Flood, Robin, Riley Couch. What's up? Derek Simmons. Nice. Well, I know you're on there, Laurel, because I can see your name.
So last week, we had this new segment coming up called Letters with Wes.
Yeah.
And we asked you guys to send in letters to the real life address.
Yep.
And guess how many letters we got?
One.
One. And it wasn't really a letter.
Yeah, it was a letter. It's just
a letter, but it's a poem.
So we got one letter
So-
here. Attention, Gabe Cleve. We got a poem. So
Yes.
just gonna read that out loud. So here we go. Can I? You want to? There you go. I need some snaps in here. We're gonna get a little. Hey, if anybody else in the room, feel free to snap. We're gonna get some
or
get
online.
artistic in here. So.
We won't be able to hear you, but
I think the title
encouraging.
is "Sister Interrupts COVID-19 Poem." Yep.
Okay.
So here we go. Roses are red, violets are blue. My sister says hi. I'm in quarantine. How about you? Ooh, yeah. I don't know what to do. My sister just slapped my face, and this virus came out of the blue. She's got the rhymes going on. I didn't prepare to be contained. Yes, sister, I included you. Good thing I'm easily entertained. I feel like I'm reading a Dr. Seuss book.
yeah, that's nice.
love it.
You should make it a book.
Seeing everyone without a mask, or seeing everyone with a mask, makes you wonder who passed gas.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Oh. My days are long, but I won't fret. I guess now I should play with my pet. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm in quarantine. How about you?
Oh, my word.
Signed the shenanigans. Oh,
The
just
shenanigans,
love
whoever
it.
you are,
Love it.
well done.
Yep. Hey, so yeah, that's our segment of Letters with Wes.
Mhm.
We're gonna do that again next week. Feel free to send in your letters.
To what is the address?
it's
Can we put the address on there
1860
again? So we'll
North
put it in the
Cecil.
chat room.
So 1860 North Cecil Road, Post Falls, Idaho
Joe says
83854.
that's not a poem.
So
That's a haiku. Is a haiku not poetry?
haiku is poetry. It's just a form
It's
of
like
poetry.
it's like rectangles and squares.
yeah.
Like a square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. A
Right.
poem is not necessarily a haiku, but a haiku is a poem.
Yeah. Hey, I like how you're still repping the stash. You still
Yeah.
got that going
Yeah,
on.
I'm still
Looking good.
going strong.
Yep. Only took me a
Uh-huh.
week. I got my goatee back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You grow hair fast,
Yep.
but you cut it off pretty fast too.
You're right.
You
You're
just
right.
like you keep changing your face.
well, I
There's
mean,
something different this time too.
what's different? Do I look different? Tell me if you
Yeah.
can figure out what's different in the chat. Go ahead and put that in there. So, yep.
You have 2 seconds.
You-
Because I'm gonna say it.
You can't say it.
Why?
You don't even know.
I do too. You
How-
ain't,
are you sure?
ain't got no glasses on.
Oh, see, you said it. You said it.
It's
I
his
am
glasses.
not wearing my glasses. You are right. I have
and you got your goat
contacts.
back.
got my goatee
So
back. I missed it.
and,
No
and
hat.
He's not wearing a hat.
And I'm just throwing everybody off tonight. I look
Yeah.
completely different.
I didn't even recognize you.
Yep. What? Are you sure?
Yeah.
So fresh, so clean. Is that what you're saying, Kristen? So fresh and so clean. Hey, I'm just so glad you guys are here. If you're just tuning in,
Mhm.
this is not our normal Young Adults Live. This is the pre-show. So you are live with Zach and Wes before Young Adults tonight. So we're
Mhm.
just hanging out, talking.
Yeah. So you
It's
are giving your testimony tonight.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my story tonight.
How you
It's
feel
gonna
about
be-
that?
Good. I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I always get nervous when I talk. And
Yeah.
so
I am
still
so
feel pretty
excited.
nervous. So,
You guys, Wes has a story and a half. So
yeah.
I'm excited to hear it. Heard it before.
Yep.
But it gets me every time. So
Yep. So,
be
hey,
prepared.
be prepared. Sorry. What is that from?
That's from the Lion
That's
King.
the Lion King, yeah.
Come on, man. You know
Sorry.
that.
All right. Hey, what do we got? What do we got in here?
Jenny Lee
What did
coming
Jenny
in
Lee
clutch
say?
with the
I have
jokes.
a joke. All right. Let's hear it, Jenny Lee. Allie, got it. No, no glasses.
How can you tell a vampire is sick? By how much he is coughing.
Oh, snap. Jenny with the jokes. Jenny with the
yep.
jokes.
LOL.
Let's see who else we got on here. Feel free to utilize the chat. Got stuff on here. Shout out my dad. Oh, Doug says hi. Hi, Doug. Hi, Douglas Moen.
But we will be starting shortly.
Yep, we're gonna hear in a
about
couple minutes.
7 minutes, 6 minutes, and
keep,
48 seconds.
I keep wanting to Luke drink the water right here. It's not mine.
Yeah.
So it's not
Spit
mine.
in it.
Oh no, that's so gross.
Do it.
Hey, so glad you guys are here. Hey, really quick before we get rolling with Young Adults Live, just same as last week, throw out there things that you have been doing this last week to keep you entertained, keep you moving and stuff like that. So we would love to see some of the things you're doing. So
I just swallowed in the microphone.
did you?
Yeah, I hope you guys can hear that.
Did you?
I know it's kind of gross. I don't know why I did that.
Oh man.
I apologize.
Wes and Zach, how was y'all's week? That was good, Courtney. Good. My week was pretty
Isolation
good.
station.
Yep.
Yep.
Zach, you're working from home.
I am working
Yep.
from home. Kind of. It's kind of hard to work from home. I get distracted really easily.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I just moved
What?
to
Oh, Christian's saying
I
sorry.
have roommates, and they're
Did you-
they're
you
kind of
moved?
distracting.
Who do you live with now?
Matt McLeod and
Yeah.
Christian Shields.
Nice. That's a good crew
Yes.
there.
I was gonna come up with a
Oh.
nickname, but then I just decided not to. The Terminator. Christian the Terminator Shields.
Nice.
Mm.
Caitlin's on here. She's been hiking, doing homework this last week. Let's see what else. Joe, landscaping for today for one. Landscaping, apparently.
Oh, nice. I did some of that the other day.
Yep. Yeah. So
Good,
hey,
right,
so glad you guys were here with us for the pre-show. It was a little shorter today. It's all good. We'll be back next week. We look forward to. I hope you guys are looking forward to tonight. Young Adults Live. We got a pretty good. I think the game's going to be fun. We got a cool game tonight. Got some more giveaways.
Fun. I'm excited.
Yep, it's going to be good. And then again, sharing my message tonight. It's going to be good. So
so tune in. 5 more minutes.
No, actually, we're in about 5 minutes. So we'll be back with Young Adults Live. This is it for Zach and I for the pre-show. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in like 5 minutes.
Hey, what's up, guys? We are live, Real Life Young Adults, and I'm here with my good buddy, Wes Terrell. Wes, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good.
I love it. Hey, we are so excited that you are with us tonight, that you've decided to join us and be here with us together. And we just can't wait to be able to be together once again and to hang out. And so tonight we got some really cool stuff planned. This guy's going to be giving his story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you excited about that,
I
Wes?
am. Dude, I'm actually really excited. It's going to be good.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And we are going to continue to, in this sermon series called Overcomers, talking about stories of how we overcame. And so we're going to talk more about that. But in the meantime, we just want to say welcome. Thank you so much for being here, watching with us. Young Adults Live. We're going to kick it over to Zach and Luke. It's usually Zach and Wes. It's a little different.
I can't be two places at once.
You had the pregame, you had the pre-show,
Yep.
And now Luke is giving his hosting debut. So let's kick it over to those guys for a few things.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
We're live, you guys.
We are.
I am so excited. Are you excited?
I am very excited, actually.
Yeah, dude, this is your first time.
It is. I really like just talking into microphones. So
Uh-huh.
this is good stuff.
Because
For me. This is
you
big
can't really
news,
hear
yeah.
it. It doesn't sound like a
No,
microphone
I can't
from
hear
here.
it, but I hope you can.
Yeah, well,
You know,
that's
this
the idea. I
is
hope they
great.
can. If not, we have a
Fantastic.
problem. Hey, you guys, so we are so thankful that you're here. Thank you for joining us. We would love for you to text your attendance in. And so every week we do this. If you want to text your attendance in to RLMYA or text RLMYA 0409 to 208-215-7755. That helps us out a lot. We know who's with us. We know who's hanging out.
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
It is a mouthful, but it's not as big a mouthful on a text.
No,
So,
no.
yeah, it's not in your mouth on a text. I
Words are
guess.
hard, though.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
it's understandable.
So the other thing is, we're going to do another raffle this week. So if this is your first time watching, we do a raffle for those of you guys who text in your attendance. If it is your first time watching, when you text that in, you'll get kicked back a little something to fill out. And if you fill that out, we will send you a coffee card. So
Who
as
doesn't
well
love
as
free
being
stuff?
entered into a raffle. Yeah.
It's free stuff.
Do you like coffee?
I do. Very much like coffee.
I like coffee. Maybe too much.
Wow. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
debatable, though.
Yeah. Well, can you like it too much? Probably. It's a drug. I don't know.
Well, caffeine, yeah.
All right. Anyways, what else?
Anyways, we got the spring retreat coming up, guys. It is from May 22nd to the 24th. We'd love to have you there. We are full on planning on still having that, but in the event that it does not happen, we'll give you a full refund. So go ahead and sign up at reallifeministries.com/youngadults. The cost is $49, and we'd love to see you there.
Yes.
Like I said, if we do cancel, you'll get a full refund, so it's a win-win either way.
Yes. All of it
One
back.
way you get to come have fun with us for a weekend. The other way you get your money back. So there's no losing.
That's true. Well,
Love to have you there.
if we don't get to do it, I feel like that's a loss.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I am too.
I'll be pretty bummed. We'll have another one probably if we
Schweitzer,
don't
right?
have it. But
Schweitzer
Schweitzer Chapel. Yep.
Yeah.
If you have not
so-
been to Schweitzer, it's pretty cool. There will probably not be enough snow to ski.
No, but hopefully there is some sunshine. That's
Oh,
what
man.
that's what we're really
Dude.
hoping for here.
Yes.
So.
Sunshine. If you are not following us on social media, that is a good way to stay connected to us during this time where we don't get to see each other as much. So follow us on Instagram, Facebook. What is our social media? It should be on your screen eventually. I'm just going to trust that it is. Yeah. So we also, you guys, if you don't know what week it is, it's Easter weekend. That's Sunday. So we obviously aren't meeting here at the church, but we do have online services on Friday at 6:15, on Sunday at 3 different times, at 8 o'clock, 9:45, and 11:30. And you can watch it in your pajamas. So
That's
don't miss out on
fantastic
that. Yeah,
news.
I'm excited for that one too.
Absolutely.
Dude, yeah, Easter service is always fantastic. So,
Yeah, it's great stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Are you gonna watch it?
oh, absolutely. Always.
Yes.
8 o'clock, bright and early.
8 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're a better Christian than me. I'll be there
Is that-
probably at 9:45.
Uh,
So
man.
maybe 11:30, depending on how I'm feeling.
yeah, that's
you
all
know.
right. You just got to do what you feel sometimes, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Follow
No,
your heart.
but yeah,
right?
yeah.
Don't follow your heart.
No,
That's bad advice.
terrible advice.
So we're gonna do a meet and greet,
Yeah.
just like every week. So if you guys we're gonna have a question, and then you post your answer to the question in the chat room, and the answer that we like the best, you'll win. What are they gonna win?
A gift card.
A gift card to probably Dutch Bros.
So Jenny Lee has won like 4 times in a row now.
She's just clever,
So guys,
okay?
we need you to step it up,
Yeah.
and we need somebody else to win. All right. So do good, try hard.
Do better,
All right.
try harder.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Here we
Here's
go.
your question.
So the question is, what is your most irrational fear? Irrational fear.
Most
We're not talking
irrational
about real
fear,
fears here.
Like
Just-
things that you're afraid of that makes no sense to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is something that you're afraid of?
So
that's
for me
irrational?
specifically, I'm only afraid of the dark in churches.
Oh,
I don't know why, but I just feel really terrified.
all
when
churches, or is
yeah,
there
just
like
any church.
any church?
Yeah. I can be in the dark anywhere else but the church.
Well, there's a lot of churches that are in like strip malls now. You know, so
Yeah,
it doesn't,
well, it
doesn't
could be.
feel like a church.
My church in California was pretty sketchy,
Uh-huh.
so it was kind of an old building, so that could be fueling it right now. What about
think,
you, big guy?
Light switches
Oh.
and the metal around a trampoline for the same reason. I don't like getting shocked. The static shock freaks me out. I'd rather dive off the trampoline and risk hurting myself than get shocked.
That is highly irrational.
And I always like when I'm flipping on a switch, I always hesitate a little bit because I'm
Interesting.
afraid of getting shocked.
Start breathing, getting worked up a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
interesting.
so post your answers in the comments.
All right. Well, let's see what we got. on the
Snickers,
chat.
especially the ones on fruit.
That says stickers.
Oh,
Stickers. Sorry. Words are hard, man. It's all right.
It's far away, okay?
Uh, my car will blow up after I fill it with gas.
Oh, that's
Okay, all right.
That's not irrational. That would be
interesting.
scary.
Yeah.
Paper cuts. Yep.
Well,
Yep.
Paper cuts really do hurt, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Riley,
it's just a little
I'm
surface.
telling you, Riley is my sister,
Yeah.
and I know she's afraid of paper cuts.
Interesting.
Like you hold paper at all, and she's on edge. It's pretty irrational.
No. Wow.
Popping those weird biscuit cans. Oh yes.
Oh,
Yes.
like the like
Like,
Pillsbury
yeah,
Doughboy,
and
the little
you press
twist
it and it,
cans?
yep.
Oh,
that's not
interesting.
irrational either,
Interesting.
but that's a good one. Sarah Byrne.
Escalators.
Yeah.
The ending is frightening.
Escalators. That's fair. Fake blood. I can handle the real blood, but fake blood, no thank you.
Interesting. That's interesting.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Falling pine cones.
That fair.
Just getting hit by one. Yeah.
They got spikes on them. That's scary.
They do.
Spiders. So that is not irrational.
Seth Rogen.
Spiders are
Yeah.
really scary. I don't like spiders
Yeah.
either.
No,
Needles.
That's a real fear. Yeah.
Definitely.
Having to say the words similarly
Oh.
or particularly, it's a struggle.
Trypophobia. That's like the pine or not the what is it? The honeycomb shapes. Like the things with holes in it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm
yeah,
talking
I know
about?
what- Yeah.
People are afraid of that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm a little afraid of it, but not like crazy.
A day of not having coffee. Me too.
That
Me too.
is
That's quite
that's a
terrifying.
nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we addicted? Are we a
I
slave
would
to caffeine?
say I am addicted to caffeine or coffee at
Mhm.
least. Yeah.
All right. Well, who do we like the best here? If you guys have an answer
Metal
still,
fences,
post it.
That's a fun one. What are you feeling?
I like the Pillsbury
I
popper
do too.
cans.
Because that is interesting. Because those croissants that come out of those little things are
Yes.
fantastic.
It's worth it. It's
Yeah.
worth facing your fear for
That's
sure.
right. It helps you grow, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's a
what do you
good
think?
one.
That one?
I do like that one.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Sarah Byrne, good job.
Congratulations.
We like your answer the best. Yeah, you can still post them. They're funny, but you won't win now. So I'm sorry.
That's good.
So we got trivia next. So every week we've done Bible trivia. This week is a good one. Okay. So
Very
here's
good.
how it works. So we have a phone number that's going to come up on your screen, and we have a question that's going to come up as well. So if you call to that phone number and you're the first one to answer correctly, then you win another gift card. Yeah.
Do we know where these gift cards are to?
The what?
Do we know where these gift cards are to?
Probably Dutch Bros.
Probably Dutch Bros.
It's
All right.
really the only coffee place that's open, so
Gotcha.
it's a good deal. Yeah. So the question is, what is the longest word or name in the Bible? Okay, so that's your question. Call in to the number on your screen. The number is 208-500-2186. Call that in. First one to get it right, and you have to pronounce it correctly. I don't actually know how to pronounce it actually.
Yeah, to our liking, we'll say that.
We have to like
you
the
know.
way you pronounce it. Okay.
So speak with confidence, and
Pronunciate.
you'll be, that's the way to do it. Just speak with confidence.
Yeah.
So
All right. So call in. Did you know the answer to this before?
I did not.
Before we look it up?
That's an interesting word.
The number is 208-500-2186. So call in. We have the phone right here. We'll answer you. Oh, is that? Oh, it's ringing. Here we go. We got somebody. Hello?
Hey,
Hey, who is this?
it's Courtney Seidel.
Courtney
Hi,
Seidel.
Courtney.
Hi. What is your answer?
It's Mark. Hold on.
You got to pronounce it
I
right.
have to figure out how to pronounce it.
No?
Sorry, wrong
All
answer.
right, well, shoot. You almost
right.
had it. You got the start
I
of
said.
it. The first of like 17 syllables
Yeah,
you got.
yeah.
So that's we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh, we
Again,
got another
speak with confidence.
one. Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Who is this?
Am I on?
You are on. Who is this?
You can't call from in the room. Next. All right, keep calling, you guys.
This is a very big word.
It is. This
and
is
it's
tough.
it's a hard word.
I practiced it several times. So
I like how I summed it up. Can't say it now.
No,
but
you-
it
was pretty good,
It's
yeah.
pretty close, right? It's got most of the
It
syllables
sounds
in there.
similar.
Yeah.
Yep. So if someone says that,
They
extra
obviously
points.
win. Yeah.
Yeah. Bragging rights.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to give them any more gift cards.
No, and you
Just
can't
the
go
one.
wrong with bragging rights either.
Mhm.
So
That's true.
that's the one
almost
thing that never goes away.
debatably more valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello?
Hello,
Who is this?
this is Riley.
Riley.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your answer?
Okay, I'm gonna do my best.
You got it.
Is Marshall Hashbaz.
Was that?
Did I
Wes-
kill it or did I kill it?
You got. You know what? It was pretty good. What do you guys think?
What do you think here?
Here, say it one more time.
Oh, okay.
Confidently, please.
Confidence. I want to.
Yes.
I want to feel the confidence.
Yep.
Feel the confidence?
Uh-huh. Through the
Yep.
phone.
Okay. Marshall Hashbaz.
Marshall Hasbaz.
There's a little bit of a stutter in there.
Yeah,
and
you know what?
that's-
I think it's good enough.
You think it's good enough?
Yeah, that one's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard.
it is.
So what did you say it was?
I thought it was marshmallow hash brown.
Marshmallow hash brown.
I thought that was pretty close to
That's pretty good.
what it should be.
Yeah.
You know.
That's
So
if I ever read that in Isaiah. All right, we're gonna take the next call just in case. So hang on, Riley.
Oh.
I don't. What I do?
just hang on.
Is there coming in?
Hit the button again. Yep.
Hello?
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 Is it
Who
so
is this?
Riley? That sounds like
This is
Riley.
Riley.
This
Yeah.
is Riley.
Oh, okay. Well, for the
Riley, hang up, all right?
no, you
There's no other call.
there's no more callers. All right. Well,
All
Riley
right,
Couch,
Riley,
congratulations.
Riley, you win. Good job.
Well done.
That was close enough.
Well done.
I'm not
Oh,
really sure
We
how
do
to
have another
pronounce
call
it.
now.
Oh, we do?
Do we want to answer
Should
that?
we just talk to him?
Yeah. Hello.
Hello?
Hi, it's Kyler.
Kyler.
Hi, Kyler.
How's
How
it
you
going?
doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Do you have an answer to the question?
I do. I believe it is Maher Shalal Hashbaz.
That
That
was
was-
better.
That was definitely
You know,
impressive.
We got a winner already, but
Can we give away a?
I think
Yeah.
I think you got her beat. So
Yeah.
we're gonna give you a gift card also.
Yeah.
Riley, you get one too.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll bring it home.
Yay,
But
we both get one.
yeah,
That's exciting.
sweet. Good job,
Well,
Kyler.
that was impressive. That was
That was
fantastic.
good.
Yeah.
Right.
That
I
was
thought
way
was
better
great.
than I.
You're doing
Yeah, there
it,
was
so
even
I,
like a
kinda know how to do the
sound
thing.
in there.
Yeah, no, there was
Yeah.
no stutter. It was just smooth and it flowed. That was
good.
great.
Good job, Kyler. Congratulations. We'll
Hey,
send it in the
thank you.
mail. Okay, bye. Good job, you guys. That's a tough word. It is Maher Shal Hashbaz, something like that.
Kyler did it better.
Yeah,
Still,
they're better
yeah.
than me, for
Yeah,
sure. Mhm.
absolutely.
Yep. That is Isaiah's second son, I believe. I just read
It
that a
might-
minute ago,
yeah.
so
Oh,
I
okay.
hope the
All right.
internet's right. So,
Perfect.
all right, we are going to kick it back over to Gabe and Wes for testimony time. So I'm going to pray for us, and then we're going to go over there. Super excited. It's going to be sweet. Father God, I just thank you for who you are. God, thank you for Wes. Thank you for the incredible story that you've given him. God, I pray for words, God, that you'd speak to us, soften our hearts to hear what you have to say. God, you do say that we'll overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony, and this is a big deal. And so I just ask that you would prepare our hearts for it. Help us to hear you. God, I pray that this would change our lives, because I know that it can. God, we love you. It's in your name I pray. Amen.
All right, well, we are back, and I am excited to hear Wes's story tonight. And if this is your first time joining us, we've been in a sermon series, or maybe this isn't your first time, but maybe you didn't tune in last week. We started a new sermon series called Overcomers. And what we've really been talking about are the different people's stories of ways that they've overcome sin, temptation, obstacles, pitfalls, trials in their life. And so last week I kicked it off by sharing my story of how I say but really how through the power of Jesus I was able to overcome, right? Because I don't take credit for that, right? It wasn't because I was so awesome, I was so smart, I was so holy or spiritual that I was able to overcome. It really is because of Jesus. And the passage that we are basing this sermon series out of, you heard Zach just make a reference to it a second ago, is Revelation chapter 12, verse 11. And in the context of this passage, it's really, really cool. Satan actually gets kicked out of heaven for good. He can no longer have access to heaven. And he comes down to earth, and he's really, really upset. And this cool verse in the Bible where it talks about the saints, the followers of Jesus on earth, as Satan is going after them, it says, and they overcame, right, by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of the testimony. So we believe that the way that we overcome the sin in our life, the way that we overcome death, the way that we overcome temptation and trials and fear and any of that, the way that we overcome is, number one, by the blood of the Lamb. That's what Jesus did for us on the cross, right, Wes?
Amen.
What Jesus did for us as he died on the cross and took away our sins. First and foremost, that's how we overcome. But secondarily to that, it says, and by the word of their testimony. It's an amazing verse as it pairs together the most powerful event that's ever happened in the history of the universe, God coming down and giving up his life for us. It pairs that with our story, our testimony. And so that's how we overcome. And so if you're out there right now and you're wondering, how are you going to overcome the sin in your life? How are you going to overcome death and Satan and the trials that take place in your life? It is by the blood of the Lamb, Jesus Christ, and the word of your testimony. Your story is powerful. Your story carries weight, and people need to hear it. Yeah. And so that's what this sermon series is all about, is by sharing those stories. And we want to encourage you to do the same thing. We want you to share your story. It might not be on a online platform like this, sitting in a chair across from someone else, but it might be over the phone in this time of quarantine. It might be with your neighbor from yard to yard. It might be when we get out of this whole quarantine deal. It might be over a cup of coffee with someone that you've been wanting to share your story with for a while. But for right now, here's what we don't want to do. We don't want to go, well, it's for later. It's for next week or next month or next year. It's for right now. Right. There are people that need to hear your story right now. So here's what we want to do. We want to give you an opportunity to share your story right now, like tonight, as soon as we're done with Young Adults Live, we're going to challenge you to share your story with everyone that follows you on social media. Here's what we want to do. We want to do a challenge called How Jesus Saved Me Challenge, the How Jesus Saved Me Challenge. And so here's what we're going to do. Take a video of yourself giving a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute story, a testimony of how Jesus saved you. And here's what you need to do. Here's who I was before Jesus saved me. Here's what I did before Jesus saved me. Here's how I met Jesus. And here's what he's done in my life ever since. And here's who I am now.
Yeah.
So we want to challenge you to post that video on social media. Hashtag How Jesus Saved Me. Make sure you hashtag How Jesus Saved Me, and then tag Real Life Young Adults 1825, because we want to be able to see that. We want to be able to interact with you on that and be able to find that. So make sure you tag us on that, and then hashtag How Jesus Saved Me. And tonight, you can share your story with the hundreds or the thousands of followers that you have on social media just like that.
So
the
good.
power of technology right
Yeah,
there.
I love it.
So that's what we're going to do. That's what we want to see those. So whether you do that tonight or tomorrow or the next day, try to do it before next Thursday. And here's what also we want you to know, that if you're having trouble knowing how to share your story, you can connect with us. We have lots of different ways that you can connect with us. On our website, reallifeministries.com/young-adults. Are all the different ways that you can connect with us. So through email, my email's on there. A number that you can text us on is on there. Our social media platforms are on there. And so all the different ways that you can connect with us are on there. So if you're like, hey, would love to talk with someone about this, let us know. We'll be able to talk with you and help you learn how to share your story as well.
So good. Love it.
Well, without further ado, we are going to get into Wes's story. But Wes, actually, there is going to be a further ado.
Oh, here it comes. What do you got for me?
Before we get into your story, there's 2 questions that I think are vital to us knowing
Okay, I'm ready.
before we hear your story.
Let's hear it.
You're a 90s kid, Wes.
I am.
You
Born
grew
in
up in the
88.
90s, the
Yep.
greatest decade in the history of the world, right?
Best ever.
Ever.
Maybe. I mean, we might be biased because we're both 90s kids,
That's
but
absolutely it.
Yeah.
Question for you. Number 1, what is your favorite song from the 90s?
Favorite song from the 90s. I'm going to have to go with On Bended Knee, Boys to Men. Love it.
A little Boys to
Boyz II
Men,
Men all the way.
B2M. Oh,
Followed
that's good.
closely by some Backstreet Boys, maybe some NSYNC.
Yep. Backstreet
Love it.
Boys, NSYNC, classic. You know,
Yep.
98 Degrees. It was kind of a thing.
Oh, yes.
Remember 98 Degrees?
Yep.
I
Nick
don't
Lachey, married to Jessica Simpson.
Nick Lachey. There you
Yep.
go. That's solid right
Love it.
there. Yep. Okay, Wes. Now that's an important question, but I would say the more important question
Okay.
is, as a 90s kid,
Mm-hmm.
what is the greatest cartoon of the 90s?
Hands down, the Rugrats. I
Mic
loved the Rugrats. Oh, done. Just can't beat it.
The Rugrats.
I love the
man.
Rugrats.
Great show. You know, there are probably some people watching right now that have no clue what the Rugrats is.
Probably. I mean, there's people watching right now that probably have no clue of anything I just said. Boys to Men, NSYNC, Rugrats, all
Yep.
that.
Yep, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I liked myself a little Doug, too.
Yes.
Doug.
Quail Man. Sorry.
Oh, it's the 90s. I love it. It's good.
Saturday
All right.
morning cartoons. Loved it.
yeah, yep.
Oh.
Boys to Men and Rugrats.
Yep.
That was your jam.
Yep. Those are my jam.
Well, we're going to get into Wes's story. Before we get into that, if you have any questions of anything that Wes has to share tonight, or just questions in general about some of the things that he talks about, we would love for you to comment those in the chat, and we'd love to be able to come back at the end of the night and answer those questions, to be able to engage with you and kind of what's on your mind. We'd love to be able to speak into. So as he talks, there's going to be part 1 and then part 2.
Right. Yep.
As he talks on those things, type some questions in on the chat. We have some people that are fielding those questions. That'll be filtering them over to us, and we'll come back and we'll give our best response
To those questions.
to those questions.
Because I don't have all the answers. I can respond to them.
Well, that makes 2 of us.
Yep.
Wes, let's get into your story, man. So, how do you want to start? Like take us to where the beginning of your story and where you want to really kick it off from tonight.
Yeah, so I guess the easiest way to start is I've been a Christian like my entire adult life. So before that would just be childhood, growing up and stuff like that. And so I just, to roll right into it, grew up without a dad. Like never knew my dad when I was a kid. Didn't meet him till I was 19. And so like that, I think that had a big part of, growing up and affecting me, and not, like growing up, I felt like I had this question mark over my head of like, there's this whole other half of me that I don't know. Like, where did I come from? How did this? So that was, it huge in my life of not knowing that. But I also grew up, there was people close to me. I grew up physically abused. I spent a lot of my childhood in fear. I remember, coming home from school, just being afraid to come home. So I would spend a lot of time in my room, a lot of time watching cartoons, stuff like that. Like, I still did normal kid stuff. I still had friends. I still went to school. I did all that stuff, but I hid a lot. At the time I didn't understand it, but like, watching TV, playing baseball. I loved baseball. Baseball is my favorite all-time sport. Played it all through, but yeah, so my childhood was pretty rough. Being in fear, being afraid of coming home, spending the time, like if I could be somewhere else, I was at a friend's house. I was gone. I wasn't home a lot of the time. And so that's just, starting in a kid, like started off pretty rough. And it kind of only like changed from there. So towards middle school age, I ended up being sexually molested by a close family member. And so and that really messed with me. Like through that, I remember wrestling with these thoughts of like, this is my fault. I caused this to happen. Why didn't I say something to stop this? And just in living in that. And so childhood, growing up in, now in middle school years of, not only am I dealing with being afraid, but now I'm like questioning myself and, hiding this deep, dark secret, because I didn't tell anybody for years after that happened, and just ate at me from the inside. And it was pretty rough. Like I did a really good job at hiding it when I was younger. I guess one of the ways that I would cope is like, if we were friends in school, like I would always try to make you happy, or, tell a lot of jokes, or do a lot of things. Cause I felt like, I think at the time I felt that if I could make you laugh, it made me feel better. And if I could make you laugh, it took everything off of me and put it on you. Like
Took the attention off of you.
Right. The attention was off of me. It was on you at that point. And so, I kind of hid in that. And so I had, like, growing up, like I didn't have like this distinct close friend group that I only hung out with, or like a clique. I actually had a lot of friends and a lot of different people and different, I hung out with some of the popular kids in school, hung out with the not so popular kids. I moved around a lot, and like I want to say that was because I was just, at the time I was super personal, like I could get along with anybody. But I really think it had to do with a lot of hiding stuff. Like if you got too close to me and started to figure out, like, you would figure out that I'm broken, like I did these things wrong, like, with being molested, like if somebody found out about that, what would they think about me? And so
you would move from like friend group to friend group,
right?
Because like if I get too close to them, they're gonna know about me. They're gonna know me, and so I'd go over to these people, and then these people, you'd bounce around because you didn't want to be fully known.
Exactly, right? Yeah, and like adding on, like I'm in middle school, and it's about like figuring out who you are. Middle school is like for me was completely awkward and uncomfortable as it is. Like a couple weeks ago I shared the story of when I was in 7th grade with a note, like being embarrassed, and like it was pretty rough. And that really like just continued on through different areas. So I'm in, again in middle school, kind of getting towards high school, realizing like the older I get, I'm starting to pick up on a lot more things. I'm starting to pick up that, my mom has a substance abuse issue. And so I'm reading into these things, and my mom and I start arguing a lot. My mom and I would get in fights constantly and argue about stuff like this. And it was weird because I got to a point where, like, towards the end of middle school, like I start drinking, like experimenting and drinking, and and smoking pot. And
in middle school.
In middle school.
Wow.
Yeah. Is where a lot of that started, just because of the pain and everything that was going on. And what was weird is like, it's from my perspective, from everybody around me, it looked like partying and drinking was just something you did because it was fun.
Yeah.
And I played along in that, but I knew like back then, like partying wasn't really fun for me. I didn't really like being out of control. And when I was intoxicated or high, like I was physically out of control of my own body. But I became addicted to the numbing feeling of being intoxicated, the numbing feeling of being high.
So you used the partying, the drinking, the drugs to forget about the pain.
Yeah.
Right. It was like
Yep.
this is gonna numb out the pain and
Yep.
what I'm feeling right now. Yeah.
Yep, and that's what I would do, just to numb. And so I was constantly chasing that. Like I don't want to feel anymore. I don't want to feel emotional pain. I don't want to feel physical pain.
Wes, real quick, at the time when you said, okay, you were using that to numb out, at the time, did you know you were using that to numb out? Or do you look back and go, I was using that to numb out? But at the time, you justified it as going, no, this is just fun? Or
I totally justified it as, because like, again, I'm in middle school, high school, like I want to be accepted. I want to be around people. I want to be a part of things. Just like I think a lot, like all of us do, we want to be accepted. We want to be invited into things. And so that just, I did that. But really, like looking back on it, I'm like, wow, like I didn't.
So at the
I
time,
could've-
you weren't going, I'm going to go numb out.
Nope.
You're
No,
like,
I was
I'm just going to go party with
I'm
my
gonna party with my
friends.
friends.
But you look back now and you're like, I was totally avoiding the pain.
Yep. Because on the outward, you would see me at a party. We'd be drinking. I'd be drunk, intoxicated, high, whatever. To me, to you, it would look like we're all just having a good time. And inside, like looking back on it, I'm like, no, I was just living in the moment of I don't have to feel.
Yep.
Like I don't feel pain anymore. I don't. In the moment, I don't feel it.
Right.
You know. And then of course, like you come out of that, and
Yeah, the next day,
Right.
yeah, you're right back there.
right. And that, like at the time, the only reason I couldn't continue in that is because that's a weekend thing. You know, you can't.
Right.
For at least for me, like you can't be drunk and high all through school and stuff like.
Right.
Even though sometimes I was like,
Yeah.
but just so it was like this binge and purge process of like through the week, hang out at friends, be at school, like really for me, school, like I would be there, but I would just be there to be around people, not like to do school. Like that wasn't a huge thing for me. So
Yeah.
and then the weekend would come, be gone, partying and stuff like that. And so, like, again, at the time, I'm starting to realize, like, my mom has substance abuse issues. We're starting to argue. We're fighting a lot. But now, like, it's starting to switch gears in my head of, like, realizing or understanding, like, I'm pissed at my mom because she's doing these things. She's using drugs. She's drinking. Her and I are arguing. But then that weekend, what am I doing? Like, I'm drinking and using drugs and numbing out. But
So you had that's a lot to go on
yeah,
in such an early age.
Yeah,
Right.
from-
Like,
Mhm.
from
Childhood
not
to
not
high
knowing
school.
your dad to being physically abused to being molested to having a mom who has substance abuse issues.
Yeah.
That's a lot for a young kid to go through. How did that affect you mentally? Like obviously there's some things that happened to you physically, but how did that play out mentally for you growing up?
Yeah, it mentally I was a wreck. I didn't fully understand it at the time, like middle school, high school. I remember feeling sad a lot, or feeling dark, or feeling numb, or feeling hopeless. Now, like we call that depression, like and so I had this depression that was just growing. I'm not in counseling. I'm not talking to a lot of people about it. Trying to fix it myself through partying, spending time with friends. Like it wasn't always about drinking and partying, but like spending time with people, finding ways to get this feeling to go away. And so this depression just is growing a lot. Not knowing what to do with it, feeling overwhelming with feeling alone, feeling afraid, feeling hopeless, angry, but not knowing how to, in a healthy way, process these and get through them. And so it started to take me to a really dark road. I remember getting through a season of my life toward, in high school where it's like, if this is life, like, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And so, thankfully, like, things switched a little bit. I had a friend that lived across the street from me that would always ask me to go to youth group. And, so we would like, he would ask me every week. It would get so annoying. And I finally told him, I was like, I will go if you never ask me to go to youth group again. Like,
He's like, done.
he's done. Like,
Okay, let's go.
okay, and so
That's awesome.
I finally, I go to youth group, and I realize at youth group, like, there's a lot of cute girls at this youth group. Like, A, I know a lot of people, but B, like, there's a lot of cute girls here. I think I'll come back. Like, what's the worst? And so, unfortunately, like, that's how it started, me going to church. But very shortly after that, I started to realize that there was specific people that were, like, leaders, that when I would show up, they would be excited that I was there. Like, they would ask me, hey, man, how was your week? Oh, it was good. And at first, like, I'd like throw out really lame answers of like, do you really care? Or like, it was all right,
Yeah.
School was fine. I was, one,
You're testing to
2-word
see
answers.
if they were gonna hang in there with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, but they kept asking, like, the questions kept coming, and then it wouldn't just stick with that of like, hey, tell me about that, or like, hey, we're gonna go do this. You want to come hang out here? And this, like, all of a sudden, it started growing in me of like, there's people actually like out there that actually care about me.
Yeah.
And all right, like, so I'm gonna give them a little bit, and so that just keeps growing, and I'm realizing that there's like, okay, like, this is cool. There's people that care about me. There's, I think I can get like this church thing. This is pretty cool, and but like, unfortunately, so there's that, but there's still like this internal process of me, like, this dark road of not knowing what to go, like, not knowing where to go, knowing what to do with these emotions, and so. Like, thankfully, the leaders in my life at the time knew how to, like, ask certain questions to get me to open up. Just very simply starting with the relationships, hey, how things are going, love to get to know you, tell me about this, what do you like, simple questions.
Yeah.
But then they started to, like, change and, like, hey, how you feeling today? Or, hey, I noticed this, and you said this, and what's going on?
Yeah.
So I started opening up. For like really the first time of like genuinely opening up. Well, life is hard. This sucks. Got in an argument with my mom. Got kicked out of class because I cussed out a teacher. And like over time, short amount of time, but over time, these conversations start to change. Of like, life sucks right now. Like, honestly, I don't know what to do. This is hard. And and came to a point of like, I want to end my life. Like I start thinking about this. These thoughts of suicide are like starting to overcome my brain. Starting to think of ways to do that. And so, yeah. And like it all came about, like it all came to a head at one youth group night where we had a leader come in there. And that's when like things clicked in my brain. And so, when I became a Christian, like it was pretty cool story, but, yeah, we'll have to hold off on that for a little bit.
So you're going to share with us part 2 of that, right? That's cool, man. That's really cool. I look forward to hearing it again in part 2. Right now, in between Wes kind of sharing who he was, what he did, how he met Jesus, we're going to go over to Zach and Laurel and Jordan. They have a little game they're going to play with us. I think it's called Best Friends or something like that. Anyway, we're going to kick it over to those guys, and we're going to want your participation in this. Zach's going to explain the game, but you have a chance to get the answers right, too. And if you get the answers right, we might have a little coffee card for you. So let's kick it on over to those guys.
Hey, okay, yep. So we are going to get back to Wes in just a few minutes, but we're going to play a fun game. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous.
It's going to be fun.
Because I don't want to lose. But here's how the game is going to work. Jordan is our lovely subject. This game is called the Best Friend Challenge. So we got Jordan here and Laurel, her best friend. And I'm Jordan's cousin. Also one of her best friends, I'd like to think.
But I'm so the bestest friend.
You know what? We'll see. We'll see. So Jordan is going to ask a question. She's got questions on cards right here. She's going to hold it up, and then we are going to write down our answers for what we think the answer to the question is. And then we're going to hold that up, and then she's going to tell us what the answer is. But when she holds the question up, you guys type your answer into the chat room, and if you get the answer correctly, we'll give you a coffee card. So if you guys know better than we do, we're bad friends.
Yeah, that might be a little rough.
It'd be a little embarrassing. Yeah. Yep. Well, we'll see. I'm hoping not.
We're gonna do our best. Oh no.
Just dump you just like that. That'd be very sad. Okay. So what is the first question, Jordan? Oh no.
What is her middle name?
Okay. I have my answer.
I have my answer.
All right.
You show it and then I show mine?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's our answer.
'Kay.
Jordan Eric Lund.
And I said Jordan Angela Lund.
Why Eric?
Because everyone's middle name is their dad's name. My middle name is not my dad's name, but everyone's middle
But
name
everyone
is
else.
their dad's name. And I'll die on that hill. I know her middle name is not Eric, but it's Angela.
Yes.
Good job, Laurel. I'll
I
give
get
you
a
that
point.
I feel weirdly strong about that. That's why. Anyways, let's keep moving.
Second question.
What is the next question? What is your favorite animal? Oh no, I know
Your
what your
favorite
least
animal.
Oh gosh.
Your favorite one.
Favorite animal. I do have a favorite animal.
Oh no.
Oh no, we're both blanking. Okay, I'm just gonna say one.
Here we go. Write your answer. Oh no, you're probably right. Here
Okay.
we go. I say it's the majestic hippopotamus.
And I said it's the elephant because they're
What is
so
the
cute.
answer?
Zach, you're the
No! That was close. I should get half a point.
Ah, that was a
Hippos and
good
elephants
guess.
are very similar. They live in the same place.
They're pretty.
live
They're
in
pretty
Africa.
mean.
That's close. All right, what's the next question?
Zach, I'm pretty confident you know this.
What was the name
Yeah,
of
I
your
do- I
first
do know this.
car? Your first car. Oh,
My first car.
Is it Camry?
got it.
Now I put down 3 things for this.
All right, here we go. 3,
I got it.
2, 1.
We both got Rick.
Should I get an extra point because I know what it stands for? What is it? Rick
RK. Rick.
Roadkill.
Roadkill.
So I got 2 of 3, so I should get 2 points, right? Jordan?
I'll give you 2.
2
Okay.
points. She says 2 points.
So I get
Yeah.
one.
What is the backstory?
So I called it Rick, RK, Roadkill because it was red and dented. So like it looked like roadkill.
That's not red dented. It's obviously looks like roadkill. I don't know. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Next question. Oh jeez.
Where were you born?
I know nothing about you.
Do I have to say like the city or just like a state?
I put both.
Both?
I don't know. I would hope
I
you'd
don't-
at least get the state.
I don't know
Oh.
both. Oh no. What if I don't know how to spell?
Put like 1 point for the state and 1 for.
I forgot how to spell things. It's okay.
Bonus points for the city.
I don't know how to spell it.
Like 10 points for the city.
I don't know how to spell it. Okay.
I don't know the city.
Okay, here we go. We ready? What's your answer?
I got Oregon.
Oregon. Klamath
Klamath
Falls, Oregon.
Falls.
I spelt it wrong, but I got it.
It's close.
So do I get a point and she doesn't because I was more specific? I should get more points for that. 1 point each? All right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess that's fair.
Should we just
All right.
My last
Is
one.
this is the tiebreaker?
The
question.
tiebreaker.
I hope you guys are
Who
putting
is
your
the
answers
better
in.
friend?
I'm gonna be so impressed if you know this.
What were my parents going to name me if I were born a boy? I've heard this before.
I know this story, but oh no.
Oh no.
This might be a tie.
If neither one of them guesses it, you have to guess what name you like the best out of theirs.
Oh.
I don't understand. Oh, of what they write? Okay.
Is it
Like, out of Zach and Laurel? Like,
is it both first and middle name?
no, just first.
All right, you ready? Hurry up, Laurel. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It's Eric. It's gotta be Eric.
I just
Or
guessed
Laura
on this
says
one.
Daniel. What is it? Jacob.
Jacob.
Oh, it's a
Oh.
different biblical name. Eric's not in the Bible.
I felt like I was
Who do
close.
do you not like your dad's name? He's gonna take it personally if you don't. pick
Daniel
him.
is also a biblical name.
It's a biblical name.
I was on that track.
I laughed more at Zach.
Roommate fight.
Oh,
I'm not gonna flip over his scorecard.
I'll do it. Okay.
Yay, I win!
I got it. We're good. I win. I'm officially Jordan's best friend.
But not really.
Congratulations. All right. We'll look back at the chat later, see who got any of them right. If you did, we'll give you a coffee card. If not, you're not the only one. We didn't even know most of those. So we're going to kick it back to Gabe and Wes for the rest of his story. Super excited.
Oh man, that was funny.
That was good.
That was good.
That was good.
Wow. Well, Wes, we're back and we're hearing your story,
Mhm.
and so far, man, that's that was a lot of deep, emotional,
Yeah.
crazy, hard, painful stuff that you went through
Mhm.
growing up, and we're gonna hear kind of the second part of that. I just want to remind you again that if there are some questions that you have for Wes specifically in his story, or just in general as it pertains to maybe your story or what you're going through, we'd love to know those. Comment in the chat, and we'll come back at the end here, and we'll do our best to respond to those.
Yeah.
So Wes, you grew up not knowing your dad.
Mhm.
You were physically abused. You were molested. Your mom had substance abuse problems. You got into drugs and alcohol and partying.
Yeah.
And kind of started going down that same road. You were invited by a buddy to go to youth group.
Yep.
Basically to shut him up. You said, "Okay, I'll go with
I'll
you.
go. Don't tell me.
Stop asking
Yeah.
me to go with you." You end up as you were there, you end up noticing that people care about you,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
more than just surfacey kind of things.
Yeah.
It sounds like, based on your story, that kind of drew you back, right? Of going like, there's this place that I can go to where people actually care about me.
Where I feel safe
I
and
feel
want. Yeah.
safe and
Mhm.
wanted to be there.
Yeah.
Almost like welcomed, wanted, and loved. Shameless plug.
Oh.
So what then? So you kind of left off with, you said there was one night was you were at youth group, there was a guest speaker,
Mm-hmm.
and it all just clicked with you.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So, going to youth group, the youth pastor at the time had one of his friends, a guest speaker in for the night, and he was at the time he was a Golden Glove boxer, and so I was like, oh man, like this guy's
Yeah.
a fighter, like
Yeah.
totally cool. I want to make sure and be there. And he went into first he what stuck out to me the most, he told this story and he used a ruler, like a simple 12-inch ruler.
Okay.
And he pulls this out and he goes, this ruler is like your life. So on the 0 is where you're born, and on the 12-inch mark is where you die. And you never really know where you're at on that ruler. And until you don't realize when you're born, and then
Yeah.
you don't know you're dead until you're in the afterlife. And so but like, and on that ruler, there's really, really short lines and really, really long lines. And the short lines represented, he explained, the short lines represented times in your life where you feel the lowest, where you feel alone, where you feel like life's not going to get any better and this is it, like life sucks, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And then there's long lines, and those long lines represent times in your life where you feel like you're on top of the world. Everything's going good. You feel happy, you feel joy, you feel loved, you know, everything's working out. But what he pointed out was, like, on that ruler, it never stays the same. Like, it'll go to really short lines and then a long and a short. And so it was like, it was a breath of fresh air for me of realizing, like, he's right. Like, my life isn't going to be like this forever. Like, there's going to come a time where
Like
it's
that
gonna
low
be,
you're talking about.
right.
you
Like
were at
I
that
am
low,
in that low, but it's not going to stay like this. It's not going to be there for the rest of my life. And so, which really keyed me in, and I felt this breath of hope, and I'm like, yes. And this is light. Like, I have hope. And then he shared his story of, like, struggles he had and stuff like that. And he shared the story of this God that loves us, and this God that wants to be a part of our life, and this God that sent his son to die for us because of how much he loved us. And it, like, in that moment, it clicked. Not only was it like, this isn't going to be my life forever, it's going to get better, but, like, on top of that, there's a God out there that loves me intimately, and wants me to be a part of his life. And so, like, I realized that, like, I want that. I want to be a part of that. And so, like, that night I pulled my youth pastor aside, and I told him, I was like, I want to give my life to God. Like, I want to be a Christian. I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of that love, you know. And then explained to him, like, this is where I'm at. Like, I want to die. I have a plan. And in fact, I have attempted suicide before. I need help. And so, you know, I gave my life to the Lord that night. We walked through, you know, he hooked me up with a counselor that worked for the church at the time. You know, had a few sessions and worked through that. And then, a few weeks later, I was baptized. And so, like, here I am, 16 years old, baptized, and like, living for God. And I have this hope, and I have, like, this life now that I can live. And like, unfortunately, like, from 16 to 18, like, I was a Christian, but I still partied. Like, I still went out, you know, I still smoked pot, I still drank, I still hung out with, you know, not the best crowd of people that were making, you know, poor decisions, and me making them with them. And so it didn't really click yet at the time. And
Like, what didn't click was, like, okay, now that I have this new life, like, I'm going to act different ways. Like, my life's going to reflect this newness, right? Like,
right.
It was, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It didn't click.
So that part didn't click with you.
No, what clicked was, I'm saved. Like, I have a God that loves me, but like, my life didn't change. I still was living. And then I had an incident happen to where I had a really close friend of mine die in a motorcycle accident. And it rocked my world. This is the first time experiencing death that close. And I remember, like, I left school, like, so I went to Post Falls, which is just right down the road, and left school and walked here to the church and met with my youth pastor at the time, just crying my eyes out, like, not understanding, like, there's this God, like, if God is out there and if God is loving, like, why did this happen? Why did my friend have to die? Why am I feeling like this? And, you know, and he walked me through that. And in the conversation, like, he had a tattoo on his foot, and I asked him about it, and I was like, what is that tattoo? Like, what does it say? And he's like, well, it's a Bible verse. And so he handed me his Bible, and he opened it up, and he pointed it out, and he goes, read it. And it was Philippians 1:21. And so I read it. For to me, to live as Christ, to die as gain. And so I was like, okay, like, what does that mean? He's like, read it again. So I read it, asked him, like, it was kind of irritating. He had me read it like multiple times until I was like, but then, like, the more I read it, the more I was like, for to me, to live as Christ, to die as gain. And I realized that I'm not, like, in that moment, I was like, I'm not living my life for Christ. Like, I'm saved, but I'm still doing these things. I need to live my life for Christ. Like, I need to live the way he wants me to live. And in that moment, realizing, like, me becoming a Christian, me giving my life to Lord, it wasn't just about me at that point. Like, in that moment, I'm in this moment where I'm so incredibly hurt. Like, my best friend has died. I'm crying. I feel this huge amount of grief. But then realizing that God has created me, and this pain that I'm feeling that's very real, doesn't have to stay with me. Like, it's not just gonna, like, God can use that.
Yeah.
And my eyes were open again of, like, I have a story. Like, God wants me to help people, and I know what pain feels like.
Yeah.
And I want to use that pain because I know that there's people around me that feel pain, feel pain in this way. Like, in that moment, like, my whole class, my entire class, we were wrecked because, Ryan died. And so, I got to use that and be there for somebody and show them who God is, and show them who God is in my life and what he's done. And so it changed. And so, I turn 18, I switch, I turn 18. I become a leader in the youth group that I, was part of, and start telling my story, start growing and learning as a leader and being there for other people, and learning these leadership techniques and learning more about who God is. And I'm just driving into that, and just, it was this period and season in life of growth, of learning, and I was just eating it up. It was my favorite meal, loving it, and using my life to show other people Jesus. It was
super cool,
great. Yeah.
so there's a couple things in there. So a couple things stood out to me. You are here sharing your story because someone shared their story.
Yeah. I
share your story.
Yeah.
Hashtag How Jesus saved me.
Hashtag How Jesus saved me.
Share your story. Wes is here sharing his story because someone shared their story.
Yeah.
You never know who you're going to reach through sharing your story.
Right.
You never know who's going to be on the other side scrolling through Instagram, listening to your story.
Right.
On the other side of the coffee table, out in the audience, whoever that is. Like, you don't know who God's going to reach through sharing your story. But here you are, 15 years later.
Yeah, 16 years later.
16 years later, sharing your story because someone shared their story. That's super amazing.
Yeah.
The other thing that stood out to me is that you gave your life to Christ, but it was like it didn't quite click with you that your lifestyle's got to change now, right?
Right.
And I just think of the discipleship process that we walk through. It's Jesus said, "Go into all the world and make disciples, baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey all I've commanded you."
Yeah.
And so this process of going okay, I gave my life to Christ, but I'm still living like hell, right? Like, I want heaven, but I'm living like hell. It took someone walking alongside of you and going, to live is Christ.
Right.
To die is gain, right? Of going, Wes, you have some things in your life you need to change, right?
Yep.
So you gave your life to Christ. You're living for him. Things are going great, right?
Yep.
You're a Christian now. So life's just easy, right? Life's easy. You gave your life to Jesus. It's easy.
No.
Well, why? Tell us about that.
No. In fact, becoming a Christian, since then, life was not easy. It didn't get easy. My problems didn't go away. In some ways, life got harder for me becoming a Christian, not just because of outside sources, but also because of poor decisions that I made in my life since becoming a Christian. So I'm in my early 20s. I'm a leader. I'm interning for the church, wanting to be a youth pastor. And I made some poor choices, and I was removed from the internship at the time. And so I'm still a leader, but this has been taken from me. Well, it's not really taken from me. I made a choice and I had to remove myself, and then a couple years after that, making another poor choice that ultimately disqualified me from leadership. And so I was actually asked to step out of leadership. I could no longer be a leader for the youth group at the time. For a time being, I had to work on myself. And so I'm in my early 20s. I wanted to be a youth pastor. I was interning. That got tight. I disqualified myself from being an intern. you know, was still a leader for a while, and then made a poor choice and disqualified myself from being a leader in general. And so, you know, I'm still going to church here then, but I'm not a leader. I'm in this limbo of like, unfortunately at the time I wrapped my identity and who I was in being a leader. And so like I was wrestling with that, and stepped back into drinking. You know, I would hang out with people that they're not bad people. They just, you know, make bad choices, and not the wisest choices. And so, you know, I'm of age, like I can legally drink, but I'm out getting drunk again. And it's happening more frequently. And thankfully, like I never stepped back into using drugs, but I was definitely drinking a lot. And realizing that I'm numbing again. Why am I drinking so much? I don't like being drunk. I hate the feeling of being drunk, but I'm numbing again. And so thankfully, you know, like I said, I was still going to church here and there. And then again, like people stepped into my life of like, Wes, what's really going on? We love you. We want to be a part of your world. You know, you're loved. And just that reminder again came up of like, I am loved. I made a mistake. Like we all do. We all make mistakes. That doesn't define me. And so, I walked through that and got to step back into, you know, started to step back into, leadership. And then, you know, not really met a girl, like got into a relationship and, started dating and then got engaged and eventually got married. And so, you know, at the time I feel like life's going good. And then, to backtrack, I skipped, like messed up something. Like when I was 19, I finally met my dad in person, drove down to Oregon, met my dad in person because I had been talking to him after I turned 18. And then, you know, since then had a pretty good relationship with him, call him, text him, talk to him a lot, traveled a couple times to go see him. So now I'm married. I'm in my mid-20s, married, like life's going good, going to church. You know, there was a couple times where we'd, you know, skip church and sleep in on a Sunday while one turned into two weeks turned into, you know, and then all of a sudden we're not going to church. Like I'm not in a bad spot, but we're not going to church. What I realized back when I was molested, when in my early teens, I thought I had worked through that, and all of a sudden it came up again, in a completely different way. It came up, and so unfortunately started to affect things in my marriage. And I'm not going to church at the time. Like I'm not seeking out relationship. I'm not seeking out mentorship and help. And so I'm trying to fix this problem by myself. And in this, I'm starting to become like irritable, and I'm starting to become honestly a jerk. I become a jerk, and I become controlling, and and I'm taking my frustrations. I'm not being able to fix myself, and I'm placing them on my wife at the time. And so that's starting to cause a lot of strain in our marriage. And in November of 2014, my dad passed away. I got a phone call from my sister saying that Dad's not doing good. You need to come down here. And so my wife and I drove down there. And ultimately, I had to make the choice to tell the doctor to pull the plug. And so there I was, like in the hospital room, holding my dad's hand as they shut everything down. And so on one side of thing, it was amazing because I got to meet my dad when I was 19. We had a relationship. He had a spill like a year or two before that, like things got really dark. And so I had a conversation with him of like, you know, Dad, I love you. This may be uncomfortable, but I want to know, like, do you believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior? And I walked through that. And so I'm so thankful that God gave me that opportunity and had that conversation. So when the time came, I held my dad's hand as he left this world. And on one side of things, it was amazing because I knew that as soon as he was gone here, he was in the arms of Jesus. Like he's spending eternity in heaven, and I get to see him one day. Yeah. But on the other side of things, like I lost my dad. I had only spent 8 years with him, and a lot of that time was over phone and text. And so I'm grieved. Like there's this huge grief in my life. Like I'm sad. And that's in November 2014. And then unfortunately in February of that next year, 2015, my wife decided to separate, decided to leave. And so like 2015 was an incredibly hard year for me. My entire world got turned upside down. Like my dad just passed away. And now my wife has left, and like at the time I felt alone, and it was one of the hardest things, one of the hardest years of my entire life, and one of the hardest things I ever walked through was divorce and what that looked like. And like I think like I believe that God uses all things for His glory and all things for good. And so I learned a ton through that process. About who I was and what God wanted to show me and things that I needed to surrender to Him and how I needed to get help. And so I, went into counseling and started working through some things. It was unfortunate that happened, but I'm thankful that God showed me things in it. And since then, I've been able to share that with people and help other people. And so, but life wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Like life got hard as a Christian, and then later in a little bit, I still, through that whole time, I was a leader again in youth group, still wanting to be a youth pastor. And I finally became it came to a point to where I was offered a job at a local church here in town and, local church in Kootenai County to become the youth pastor. And so, I'm a youth pastor. Like I'm living my dream. God has given me this group of students that I can invest in and grow and show God's love. And so, I'm loving it. It's a season of I'm a youth pastor, but it was an incredibly hard season.
Yep.
Because, real life, the church has been my family for so many years. And then moving to a different church, I felt alone.
Yep.
I was never alone. I still had people, you guys still cared about me. I still had people here. And then I had, I was starting to grow up a family at the church I was at. And then we had new leadership in and unfortunately I was let go. And so, the church just went a different direction and that's how things worked. And so I lost my job as a youth pastor. And so, here I am in my early 30s, just a couple years ago. And again, I wrapped my identity in who I was as a youth pastor. And now that's gone. What do I do? God, what are you trying to show me?
Yeah.
And again, it was hard. But through that I learned, God was showing me Wes, I want you, I didn't design you to be a youth pastor. That was not why I created you. I created you to love people.
Yeah.
And you have loved people. Now I want to show you a different age group, a different group of people. I want to open up your world. And so it was realizing that, I'm 30 now, I'm 31. Right now I'm 32, but realizing that I've been out of school longer than I was ever in school. It's not that I couldn't relate to high schoolers, because in a lot of ways I still can relate to high schoolers.
Sure.
But now there's this age group, this 18 to 29 age group of people that I can invest in, that God is showing me. And, we went over, life happened between I was 18 to 29. And so it was this awesome, another awesome pivotal moment in my life of God showing me, Wes, I designed you to love people. I designed you to show people who I am through your story. And now I want you to show these people. And so, which brings me to today and where I'm at now and the things God is using in my life, with being mentored. And there's been a lot of challenges in my life. I'm trying to work on physical health, trying to lose weight, trying to eat better, trying to use my physical body for God's glory. Because for me personally, I'm not trying to put this on anybody, but for me personally, God wants to do things in my life. And in order for me to do that, I need to, I need to be in a healthy state. Because I currently struggle with diabetes. And so that's a big struggle. And so, God has challenged me in wanting to pursue Him through my physical health. And then also different ways of God wanting to pursue me and wanting me to pursue Him through growth and through knowledge. So I'm, challenged and I've been reading a lot of books and trying to challenge myself that way. And so it's really cool because I'm in the stage of life of growth, of learning and seeing who God is and what God wants for me in my life now. And so,
Yeah.
but again, like, it's not easy. Like,
Yeah.
it's not always going to be easy. It's
Right.
a struggle. Like,
Yeah.
losing weight for me is a struggle. I've been overweight most of my life,
Yeah.
and so it's not easy, but like, I know that I've learned that through my story, my life hasn't always been easy, and in a lot of ways it's been hard.
Yep.
But I get to, like, I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Because God has created me in a way to where I can empathize with people
Yep.
in a way that, some other people can't. And
Hmm.
so it's like, my life has been hard, but in all honesty, like, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. Like, it hurts. But I'm a child of God. Like,
Yeah.
if I want to be a Christian, like, what did Jesus endure? Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about this weekend.
Right.
Like, Jesus went to the cross. Like,
Yep.
Jesus was physically beaten. My life is to be modeled for him.
Yeah.
And if he went through that and conquered death to save me, then, I want to do everything that I can to use the hard stuff in my life
Yeah.
to show people that love.
So good.
Yeah. So
Wes, I'm super proud of you, man. I've seen you grow so much in the
Thanks.
last few years.
yeah.
Since I've known you. I've known you for several years now, and I've seen a ton of growth in you. I'm super proud of the man that you are, dude. I
Thanks.
couldn't be more proud to sit here and have you share this story with people. And I'll tell you guys, this dude is the real deal, man. When he says God made him to love people, he loves people, and to a fault sometimes. Like,
You're not wrong.
Like,
To a fault
like
sometimes.
you love people, and that's just you're amazing, dude. And I love you very much, man. I'm so
Thank you.
appreciative of sharing your story. If you have questions for Wes, comment those in. We're gonna come back and answer some of those, and then we're gonna kick it over back to Zach and Luke. They have a raffle for the attendance, I believe, and so we'll kick it over to those guys.
Hey. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
I do too. Very
Such a
much
cool
so.
story. That's so cool to hear. We do have a winner.
We do.
Yeah,
We do.
we do. Okay, so for those of you guys who have texted in your attendance, this is where that was taken from. And this, what are they going to win?
Oh,
Oh,
it looks
a Bluetooth
like
speaker.
a speaker.
Oh my gosh. LED, it's got lights, it's got
Is that blue?
speakers,
Wow.
Woo.
I would assume a speaker has a
baby.
speaker. Yeah.
hands-free, 8-hour battery life,
Wow.
splash proof. So if you drip water on it, you're still good.
That is fantastic.
Man, that is a high quality speaker.
Well, can we get a drum roll, Mr. Couch?
All right, here we go.
The winner is Gracie Metzner. I hope I
Gracie
pronounced that
Metzner,
correctly.
congratulations.
Well done.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for watching. You have a speaker coming your way, Black Web speaker.
Very nice speaker.
It's a nice one. It's a nice one.
It does look very
Yeah,
nice.
we will send our carrier pigeons out and should be there in 5 to 7 business days.
Yes.
Sweet.
So-
All right. Well,
Oh.
we are going to send it back to Gabe and Wes to answer some questions that you guys sent in. You guys have sent in some good ones. I'm excited to hear Wes's answers.
Absolutely.
So we're going to send it right back to those guys if they're ready.
All right, Wes. Well,
Right.
man, again, thank you so much for sharing your story with
Mm-hmm.
us and for everyone watching out there. I just know for sure God's going to use that, and it's just interesting to see because I wonder if that guy who came and shared his story ever found out about Wes Terrell.
I don't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He probably showed up that night to a rowdy group of high schoolers and left that night being like, I don't know what good that did, right? But little does he know that his story impacted someone so profoundly that they gave their life to Christ and they became a pastor. And dude, and I'll share this with you guys. Wes became a youth pastor at a local church here. And dude, I've told you this over and over. You're still a pastor. That's just who you are. And so I just think, man, like that. I think this God's going to use this to impact people's lives. And again, just challenge you. You don't know who your story is going to impact. Share your story.
Yeah.
There's some questions that were commented in. Really good questions. Wes, if you could change the way you came to the Lord to save yourself from some heartbreak, would you?
Honestly, I don't think I would.
Yeah.
It was hard stuff. Like, I wouldn't want to go through it again.
Yeah.
For anything, but I wouldn't want to change it. Like, I believe that God, and I know, like, not only do I believe, but I know that God has used the things in my life
Yeah.
to show people his love. Like, I can't count the conversations that I've had and the pieces of, like, my story that I've shared with people, or the conversations that I've had with people that felt like they didn't have hope or didn't understand why they were going through this. And so for me to be able to come alongside them and sit right next to them and go,
Yeah.
like, I know how you feel.
Yeah. You
And not just say it,
empathize
but,
with
like,
them.
I
Yep.
know how you feel.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
Yep.
you can do this. We can do this.
that's good.
So I would say no.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, that's good. I think it's hard because it's like you're not proud of the things that you did.
No.
You're not looking back and going, no, I'm glad I went out and drank and partied
No.
and smoked weed and did all, like, but at the same time, like, God used those things to shape you and to make you into the person you are today. And he's using those things to be able to empathize with people and walk alongside people that are dealing with those same things now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super good.
Yep.
Second question is, how were you able to forgive the people that abused you in your life? Because for me, it's hard to heal those scars in mine.
That's a hard one.
Dude.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let you go ahead.
Well, and honestly, it's taken me, like, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process of choosing to trust God in that and giving it to God. There were moments, and there are moments in my life where I have to do that. Like, going to God and going, God, I want to forgive these people. I want to. I don't want to be angry. I don't want to hate them. I don't want to, I don't want that. I want to be free of that. And so it took, daily, going to God and go, like, God, help me to forgive this person. I want to forgive this person. I am choosing to forgive this person.
Dude, let me just, I think this is super important that you hear this. So you forgave them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you had to forgive them again and again. Like, it was a
Yeah.
daily, like, maybe not every single day, but it would come up frequently where over and over you would have to choose to forgive.
Yeah.
So I just want to say this, like, for whoever, if you're dealing with pain, scars of people that have done things to you, when you get those emotions and those feelings of bitterness or of anger or of unforgiveness, those emotions that come, it's a daily choice. I hear you saying it's a daily choice of going, no, again today, I'm going to choose to forgive.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, again today, I'm going to choose to forgive.
Yeah.
And as often as it takes to choose to forgive, you're going to forgive.
Yep.
Dude, that's so powerful, man. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. The next question is, how can you find it in your heart to forgive someone who has emotionally messed you up? I think it kind of goes with question number 2, but you want to speak on that?
Yeah. It's a choice.
Yeah.
I have to choose it. There was a time period where I was so angry with my ex-wife, for wanting to leave, for wanting to give up on our marriage. And like, I was angry. Like, this isn't fair. Like, why do you get to choose this? What about me? Like, it has to be a choice.
Yeah.
Like, I had to choose, and thankfully, at the same time, there was people in my life, like, calling me on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, being there for me. And explaining that and being challenged with that of, I am going to choose to forgive them. It had to be a choice on my part. And then speaking that out and giving it to God and allowing God to change my heart in that.
Yep. So
So it takes a lot. It takes a personal choice, and you want people in your world that will help you with that personal choice.
Totally. That's super good. Yeah. People holding you accountable to when you're getting bitter and angry and resentful of them reminding you and going, Wes, again today, choose to forgive.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's so good. Guys, thank you for commenting those questions in. I hope that was helpful to you. And I just think, Wes, in light of this weekend, like it's just such a powerful reminder, this idea of forgiveness, as we are heading into Easter weekend. Tomorrow being Good Friday, the night that Jesus was nailed to a cross, the night that he was betrayed by his friends, betrayed by you and I, betrayed by everyone around him, the day that he willingly laid down his life so that we could be forgiven, right? Like tomorrow represents that. Good Friday, the day that God died for us. And I think of, right, like if it stopped there, that wouldn't be Good Friday. That'd be Bad Friday, right? Like that would be bad news. But we go into Easter Sunday. We go into the resurrection where Jesus raised from the dead. He conquered sin, death, and Satan, right? The blood of the Lamb gave us a testimony, right? And so now we celebrate this weekend this reality of what Jesus did for us, the reality that he laid down his life for you and I, that he forgave us of our sin debt, that you and I could never, ever earn, right? We can never, ever earn that salvation and that free reward that God gave us, but he gave it to us. And so now, Wes, what do we do? If there's someone out there who's like, okay, what do I need to do to be forgiven of my sins? In light of Easter, what does that person need to do to be forgiven of their sins?
Go to God.
And
It's like, just say to God, like, I want to be forgiven. God, forgive me. Jesus, forgive me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, the Bible says if you believe in your heart and you confess with your mouth, right? So if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved, right? And I love that it attaches the heart to the mouth, because what is in your heart comes out of your mouth. And so if in your heart you believe that Jesus Christ is who he says he is Lord, he is Savior, he is the only way, truth, and life, and no one comes to the Father except through him, if that's what you believe, you simply just say, Father, forgive me. Right. I accept your free gift of salvation. I acknowledge that I'm a sinner in need of saving. I acknowledge that my sin has separated me from you, and I want you to forgive me of my sins. Forgive me. I accept you into my life as my Lord and Savior, and from this day forward, I'm going to live my life for you. You're not going to do it perfectly. Wes didn't do it perfectly.
No.
I haven't done it perfectly. But you know what? The true measure of someone who's given their life to Jesus isn't that they're perfect, but it's what they do when they sin.
Yeah.
And when I blow it, when I mess up, I go to Jesus and I say, man, I'm sorry I blew it.
Yep.
I go to the person, I say, I'm sorry I blew it. I ask for forgiveness over and over. And I just know that Jesus wants to forgive you. And if you today want to know more about that, if you today are wanting to give your life to Christ and accept that free gift of salvation, we want to help you do that. Go to our website, reallifeministries.com/young-adults. Connect with us on there. Send us a message on social media. You can even comment in the chat below. On the website, there's a number you can text. We send out texts throughout the week to keep in touch with people. My personal email's on there. We want to stay connected with you. We want to help you take that next step in your relationship with Jesus wherever you are, and whatever that next step is, we desire to be a part of what your next step is, right?
Amen. Yeah.
And so if that's giving your life to Jesus, if that's you need prayer, if that's baptism, if that's joining a small group, right now we do Zoom groups. If you want to join one, join one. We want to help you take that next step, because living a life for Jesus is not easy, but it's worth it.
Absolutely worth it.
And you too can overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of your testimony.
Amen.
This week, share your story. Hashtag how Jesus saved me. Instagram, Facebook, tag us on there so we know we can find your story on there, and we would love to be able to connect with you there. So we love you. Wes, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Love you, dude.
Yeah.
So proud of you, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Have a good night.
See you guys.